I hired the girl who once looked me in the eyes and told me I would never be successful. I hired the same stepsister who laughed when I failed, who whispered about me at family dinners, who said I didn't have the face, the voice, or the grit to make it. I hired her as my assistant, and when she signed the contract, I smiled like I meant it, while my heart remembered everything I had survived because of her. My name is Maya, and this is the story of how I turned years of pain into a plan, how I walked straight into betrayal with my eyes open, how my revenge was quiet, careful, and kind of beautiful, and how, in the end, the truth did all the talking. Smash that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. The pen in Sienna's hand clicked twice. She always did that when she was nervous or when she wanted someone else to feel nervous. She wore a pale suit, soft gray silk, and a diamond I knew our father helped her buy. Her lip gloss was perfect. Her smile was that cool, sweet smile that never reached her eyes. "Assistant," she said softly, as if she was doing me a favor by saying yes. I guess that's a start. She didn't know that she'd already started walking into her own story. She didn't know that I remembered every word she'd ever said to me, or that I'd been waiting for this moment, careful, patient, and ready. Outside the glass walls of my office, the studio moved. Lumen's studio was not huge yet, but it felt alive. Soft light, plants in tall white pots, our design boards pinned with color and hope, my team crossing the floor with laptops in hand and coffee in the other. On the wall behind me was a blown-up print, "Make good things louder." It sounds simple. It took me years to believe it applied to my life at all. Sienna slid the contract back across the desk. "So," she said, "where do you want me?" My throat tightened. I remembered a staircase. I remembered her laughing high on the landing and tossing my math notes down like confetti. I remembered a different office 2 years ago, when I couldn't afford the rent, when my hands shook signing papers that felt too heavy for a girl who only had one client and a faith she kept tapping back together. "Follow me," I said and stood. Her heels clicked behind me past the vision board and the framed first invoice we'd ever been paid, the one I refused to take down. My team looked up Nadia, my operations manager and my best friend since freshman year, Mateo, our creative director with paint on his wrist, Priya, our social strategist. I had already told them everything they needed to know, that I wanted to give Sienna a chance, that I also needed to know the truth. That yes, sometimes, revenge is simply the quiet choice to stop being afraid. I walked her to a clean desk near my door, the seat where I could see her and she could see me. The chair waited. The monitor was lit. The onboarding folder lay open with a simple checklist. Passwords, email, internal chat, rules, NDA. She sat with a soft sigh and looked up at me like I was a guest in my own space. "It's cute," she said, eyes drifting across the room. "Little feels cozy." "It's focused," I said. "And you're the boss." "I am," I said. She watched me, her mascara held perfectly still. "This should be fun," she whispered. I smiled. I didn't say the rest out loud. It will be. Because when someone spends their life telling you're not enough, and you build a life anyway, there's a strange power in offering them a seat at your table. It's not mercy. It's control. And before anyone says it, no, I wasn't doing this to make her fetch coffee or file my pain. I wasn't here to humiliate her. I was here to find out if she had changed, or if she was still the same storm that tried to flood my life before. Here's the truth. I didn't hire my stepsister because I needed help. I hired her because I needed answers. And the answers were coming. What I didn't know that morning, as she set her bag down and turned her face just so, was how fast the past would catch up to the future, how quickly an old wound would open, how far I would go to protect what I built, how clean revenge can feel when it looks exactly like the truth. It started long before any of this. It started the day our families became one and the mirrors in our house changed. The first time I met Sienna, she was wearing a glitter headband and eating a green apple like it was an accessory. I was 15 and shy, a girl who lined her notebooks with song lyrics and sticky notes and things I didn't say. My mother, Rosa, had met Greg, and Greg had a daughter who looked like the kind of girl who always knows where the camera is. I didn't hate her when I opened the door. I just felt small. Hi, she said, stepping in, glancing around like she was taking inventory of our lives. I'm Sienna. Love your dress. Did you make it yourself? I looked down at my thrift store sundress. No. Ah, she said, the way people say sorry when they aren't sorry. It's cute. My mother was happy. Her laughter filled our kitchen again. Greg tried hard. He brought chai in the mornings and fixed the squeaky hinge on my bedroom door. He talked about college like it was a train I could just step into. Sienna came with the deal, and for a while, I tried. I let her braid my hair. I shared my favorite songs. I taught her how to make my mother's biryani, and she taught me how to contour my face so my nose looked less sweet. We took pictures at the park. We learned each other's schedules. I wanted a sister. I wanted one so badly I ignored it when she started rearranging my things. I would find my shoes in Sienna's closet and my scarf on her back, my ideas on her lips. She would stand in the bathroom doorway while I washed my face and say, "You should smile less, your gums show." Or, "You're sweet, Maya, but sweet doesn't win." One night she sat on my bed flipping through my journal without asking. When I reached for it, she closed it, held it against her chest, and smiled. "I'm helping," she said. "There are better words." There was a winter talent show. I sang. Sienna danced. We practiced in the living room with socks sliding across the hardwood, our mother cheering and Greg filming on his phone. I printed lyrics and taped them to the mic stand with tiny pieces of heart-shaped washi tape. On the night of the show, I walked on stage to the wrong song. Country twang blared from the speakers. The lyrics taped to the stand were not mine. They were strange, scribbled lines no one would understand. I panicked. I tried to make my voice find a melody in the mess. I stood there, face hot, forgetting to breathe. People shifted in their seats. Somebody laughed. I was not funny. I stumbled through and stared at the back wall, and I told myself not to cry. When I came off stage, Sienna was waiting. "You poor thing," she said softly, pulling me into a hug that smelled like expensive perfume. "You should have let me help you." "I didn't change the lyrics," I whispered. She studied me, blank-eyed for half a second too long. "It must have been a mix-up," she said. "These things happen. Besides, it was just a small stage." Just a small stage, just school, just a song, just scholarships, just a mess, just a life. Little things stacked up. A teacher told me my essay sounded familiar. A friend stopped talking to me after she heard I'd said something I didn't say. A scholarship I applied for never received my recommendation letter, even though I watched Sienna take it to the office for me. "Why are you always so dramatic?" she asked me once, bored, when I finally used my voice. "Why do you always think the world is out to get you? Maybe you just aren't cut out for big things, Maya. It's okay. You're soft. A small life is still a life." "You don't know me," I said and meant it. She tilted her head, eyes sweet as candy. "I do. I live with you, and trust me, you're not a threat." That night I stood in the shower until the water went cold. I wasn't crying. I was practicing silence. When I left for college, she hugged me with her chin on my shoulder and whispered, "Good luck being someone." I wanted to be someone so badly I could taste it. It felt like salt, like sweat, like hope I held in my mouth and swallowed. College was loud. I made friends by accident, the way you do when you sit beside the same person in history and offer them gum. I met Nadia when we both reached for the same flyer and tore it in half. We stuck it back together with clear tape and decided to be friends. We studied late and worked 2 jobs each and raised each other through heartbreak and hunger and finals, and the feeling that the future comes for you whether or not you feel ready. After graduation, Sienna posted a picture on Instagram in a blazer with the caption, "I got the job." I hearted it. She didn't heart my post. It's okay, I told myself, not everything is a scoreboard. I couldn't get a job that felt like mine. I freelanced. I designed logos and wrote copy and made social kits for small bakeries and new barbers and the auntie with a jewelry stall who wanted her bracelets on the internet. I loved it. It felt like storytelling. It felt like helping people tell the truth about what they were selling and why it mattered. "Cute," Sienna said at a family dinner when I talked about my clients. "A hobby." "It's my work," I said, "and I think I'm going to make it a company." She blinked. "You, a CEO?" She laughed, soft and mean. Babe, you don't have the teeth for it. You'll let people walk all over you. You'll be somebody's assistant. That's fine. Not everyone can lead. I swallowed. Watch me. She lifted her glass to her lips. I'll make popcorn. That night, I wrote a name on a napkin and taped it above my desk. Lumen, it means light. It felt like permission. It felt like a dare. Lumen's studio began on a crooked table in a tiny apartment with a window that stuck in heat and let in December wind. I bought a second-hand monitor from a guy who insisted on telling me his life story, and a lamp that leaned to the left like it had an attitude. I wrote a mission statement with the sincerity of a child. We help small brands say what they mean. And I put it on a website I coded myself after watching 12 hours of tutorials and crying only once. I slept with my laptop on the pillow beside me like a weird, expensive pet. I took any meeting I could, anywhere in the city. I brought mood boards printed on cheap paper and sold my heart to people who could only afford half of it. I learned how to write contracts that protected my time and how to say no without apologizing twice. I lost money. I won smiles. I printed business cards and ran out, then decided to plant myself online instead. I found a way to make even the quietest bakery feel like an experience. I created launch days for barbers that looked like red carpet moments. I made the auntie's jewelry sparkle on screen only half as much as it did in her hands. Nadia joined me after her job chewed her up and forgot to spit her back out. She sent me a meme at 2 a.m. Let's bet on us. I replied with a Google Doc and a spreadsheet. We split rent on a micro-office above a laundromat that hummed all day like a calm ocean. It smelled like fresh clothes, and that became our thing. We were clean. We were honest. We worked hard. When we got our first intern, I cried in the bathroom and pretended it was because of allergies. Our parents came one Saturday and brought samosas and concern. Greg asked too many questions about taxes, and my mother tried to secretly tape $10 to my desk for emergency chai. Sienna came too, in a white coat that looked expensive and a story about her city job that sounded important. "This is where you work?" she asked, eyes moving across the washed-out white walls and the single plant that kept bending toward the light. "It's cozy." "It's focused," I said and smiled the way my therapist taught me. "Neutral, sure." "How many clients do you have?" she asked. "Enough," I said, "and growing." "Good for you," she said. "Just don't get ahead of yourself." I looked at Nadia over her shoulder. Nadia looked back with a face that said, "Please don't say anything that will start a family war." I didn't. I kept my head down. I kept going. One day, a brand bigger than any name in my inbox called me, Soleil Beauty. Their products were simple and clean. Their founder, a woman named Marisol, spoke softly and believed beauty belonged to everyone. She liked our work for tiny brands. That's why she found us. "We've seen your launches," she said. "We like that you make people feel real. We want to refresh, thoughtful, nothing fake. Can you help?" I said yes in a tone that I hoped did not sound like I was shaking. After the call, I lay on the rug and told the ceiling thank you. I didn't tell Sienna. I didn't want her voice in this. We worked for 5 months and bled out none of our hope. We tested packaging, wrote copy that tasted like fresh air, took photos that made shadows feel like old friends. We presented to a conference room with glass walls and people in expensive shoes who asked good questions. I walked out feeling like my ribs were made of applause. We got it. Lumen Studio got it. Sienna found out at a dinner that turned sour like milk left in the sun. "They picked you?" she asked, interested in the way people are when they don't want to show how interested they are. "They did," I said. "We start next week." Her eyebrows lifted, almost invisible. "Interesting," she said. "That's a biggie platform." "It is." "And you're ready?" "Yes," I said, not looking away. She smiled like she was chewing something bitter she couldn't spit out. "Good for you." 3 days later, one of our sample concepts leaked online, edited badly. Like someone had taken the time to copy the bones and none of the soul. A competitor posted a suspiciously similar idea. It happens, sure, but sometimes it happens for a reason. I was quiet. I was still. I watched my inbox like it might confess. It didn't, not yet. We moved to a better office, the one with the soft light and the plants and the print on the wall that says make good things louder. We hired Matteo and Priya. We learned how to say, "That's not our rate," and wait. We planned our next move, and then my phone buzzed. Sienna. "Hey," she said when I answered, her voice bright like she was acting on a stage. "Do you have a minute?" "For you, always," I said. I don't know why I said it. Maybe because sometimes I still wanted a sister. Or maybe because I sensed what was coming and a part of me already knew what I had to do. "I lost my job," she said, a break in her voice I'd never heard. "It's complicated, politics, you know how it is." I didn't, not the way she meant, but I knew about doors closing. "I just need something for a while," she said. "I saw your posts, congrats on the new office. Maybe do you need an assistant?" I went quiet. I looked around at my team. I thought about a staircase and a talent show and 100 small cuts I'd patched with tape. I thought about the truth and how it never stops calling you, even when you're finally happy. "Yes," I said. There was a pause. Wow, that was fast. "Yes," I said again. "Come by on Monday." "Are you sure?" she asked, older sister sweet. "I don't want to outshine anyone." "You won't," I said. "Monday." After I hung up, Nadia leaned on my door frame. "Are you okay?" "Yes," I said, and stood slowly like every muscle had remembered something it wanted to forget. "I'm ready." "For what?" she asked. "For whatever this is," I said. "And Nadia, let's tighten our systems." Her eyes flickered. She knew what I was saying without me having to say it. She nodded once. "Copy." On Monday, Sienna arrived before 9 with a sleek tote, an expensive planner, and a peppermint latte she placed on my desk without asking how I take my coffee. "Just how you like it," she said. It was not how I like it. I drank it anyway and told myself that beginnings can feel like lies. It's the staying that tells the truth. We onboarded. We walked through the systems. We showed her the calendar blocks I color-coded like a rainbow to keep my brain from collapsing. We showed her our file names. We asked her to sign the NDA, and she did, barely looking at it, like legal paper was just paper. By lunch, she had started 3 lists and a conversation about how I should present myself more powerfully. "People respond to energy," she said to me, low, like a coach. "You're nice, but nice reads as weak in rooms with money." "I don't think it does if you're clear," I said. "Clear and nice can look the same," she said, lips curving. I smiled so my teeth showed. "Not in my rooms." She took calls. She got up to speed. She smiled at my team, and my team smiled back because they are good people. She scheduled 2 meetings and rescheduled one. She set a coffee for me with a potential partner I did not want to meet. "Please cancel that," I told her gently. "But his portfolio is strong," she said. "He is also unkind," I said. "We don't work with people who make our work feel small." She tilted her head like I had said something childish. "You're cute," she murmured, and I swallowed 100 things I wanted to say. Day 3, a client email was sent late. Day 4, a file ended up in the wrong folder and Matteo spent an hour re-exporting. Day 5, I found Sienna at my desk while I was in the bathroom, typing fast, screen tilted away. She looked up calmly when I came in. "Just fixing a typo," she said. "Your name in the signature was misaligned. Bad branding." I nodded and let it go. It was possible. I was tired. My brain played old tapes every time I saw her fingers on my keyboard. By week 2, Sienna knew exactly how to make herself helpful and also necessary. She sat in meetings with me and took notes. She recommended lunch spots I liked for people I liked and places I didn't for people I didn't. She listened too closely and laughed at the right parts and said, "We've got this," when anxiety fluttered in my chest before a big presentation. Sometimes I thought maybe she changed. Maybe she had been a storm because she was a teenager in a home full of shifting furniture, the same way I had been a mirror, quiet and too bright. Maybe the world had softened her. And then there were things, little things that set off tiny alarms I couldn't silence. A vendor I liked stopped replying. A pitch we had in motion felt suddenly crowded, like someone else knew where we were going. A very specific phrase I used in a draft caption, like sunlight that doesn't ask permission, appeared magically in a competitor's post 2 days later, tucked into their copy like a wink. Nadia looked at me across the table in our Tuesday meeting. "Do you think?" I stared at the screen. The phrase was mine. The timing was cruel. The feeling in my chest was not new. "I don't know," I said. "I hope not." We tightened our access. We watched our links. We asked for 2 fa without making it a moment. Sienna breezed through the changes like it was all a game and she had already learned the rules. "Paranoid is cute on you," she said one afternoon, laughing. "Don't worry so much, it makes your forehead crease." "It's my business," I said. "Your job is to protect it." She put a hand on her chest. "Always," she said. When Soleil Beauty asked us to develop a special fall launch plan with micro-influencers and a traveling pop-up that felt like a warm breeze blowing through the city, we celebrated with pizza on the floor. Sienna had 2 slices and an opinion about our lead host. "She's sweet, but she doesn't have the pull," she said. "Try someone shinier." "She's our person," I said. "Because she built her audience with integrity, that's the pull." Sienna smiled. "You love that word." "What word?" "Integrity," she said, like it tasted funny in her mouth. We built it anyway. We planned every inch of that pop-up, down to the scent when you opened the door. We built the soft wind. We wrote scripts for the host. We styled selfies with warm light that made everyone's eyes look kind. 3 days before the first date, a competitor announced a pop-up that looked and sounded like ours. Same warm wind. Same language about breezes and sunlit skincare. Same wavelength. Same city blocks. My honest chest hurt. Nadia put her hand over mine across the table, tender and sure. Mateo swore softly in a way that still felt polite. Priya's jaw clenched. We pivoted in 24 hours. We made it better. We rolled out. We didn't lose the campaign, but we lost a piece of our innocence. Sienna shrugged. "It happens," she said. "Your ideas are good. People notice." She said people like she wasn't a person. At the end of that week, I stood alone in the office at night with the lights off, just the city glow painting the floor. I thought about the girl on the staircase and the wrong song that played. I thought about doors. I thought about how being kind has never meant being naive, and I made a decision. I would watch, not because I wanted to catch her, because I needed to know. Right then, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was a screenshot of an email sent from our office. It was my deck for a pitch I hadn't shared widely yet. The subject line had a typo 3 dots instead of 2 that I recognized like a fingerprint. The sender, my assistant. I stared at it until the city lights blurred. I wasn't shocked. I was sad. And then I was very, very calm. The pitch was for Vireo, a sustainable home brand with a heart. They spoke softly, made honest things, wrote newsletters like love letters to the earth. We had an angle for them that felt like poetry. We called it Until It's Second Nature. I had said those words once to Nadia on a walk home in the rain. We laughed at how earnest we were, and then we built it into strategy. I had not shared the Vireo deck with the whole team yet, just early outlines, just a taste. Just enough to get the conversation going about tone and trajectory. I hadn't shared it with Sienna. I was going to Monday morning, I told myself. Monday after coffee. Monday after I slept this weird feeling out of my body. Monday I would say, "Here it is, help me polish it." But the screenshot showed the subject line from our office to an email address I recognized as belonging to Zara Gray, head of Vesper Gray Agency, our most shameless competitor. The subject line had my dots. The file name had my date. The time stamp was last night. I forwarded the screenshot to Nadia with just 2 words. "It's time." The next day, Vesper Gray posted a teaser about a Second Nature campaign for an unnamed home brand, full of leaves and light. Their caption used 4 phrases I had written on my couch in socks, alone at 2 in the morning when the city was quiet enough to hear myself think. 4 phrases that hadn't left my laptop. My throat went tight. My face went hot. Then the heat drained and left something cold that made me steady. I asked Sienna to come into my office. I closed the door. I turned the blinds just enough to make a room that felt like a pause. "Did you send our Vireo deck to anyone?" I asked. She blinked, and how calm she looked made the back of my neck prickle. "Why would I do that?" she asked, confused. "No." "Are you sure?" I asked, my voice so even I surprised myself. "I am not a thief," she said, sharp, sitting up straighter. "I have done nothing wrong if you're accusing me of." "I'm asking," I said, "because I received a screenshot of an email from your workstation last night." She laughed. It wasn't pretty. "Anyone could have been at my desk. People love to touch things, you know that. Maybe your little intern." "We don't have an intern," I said. "Then Nadia," she said. "She doesn't like me, you know. She thinks I'm a threat. She's been whispering in your ear since I got here. It's small of her. And honestly, small of you to set me up." "I am not setting you up," I said. "I am trying to understand." "What you're doing," she said, pointing at me with a manicured finger, "is what you've always done. Blame me for your mistakes. You were doing it when we were kids. You are doing it now. Grow up." The door clicked when she left. The silence felt like a slap too. I sat at my desk and put my hands on the wood and counted to 10. Then 20. Then I opened a new document and wrote the words, the plan. I don't explode. I don't cause scenes at desks. I don't hurl anyone's name across a room like a breaking glass. That kind of revenge is loud and messy, and it ends up sticking to your shoes. I like clean floors. I like receipts. I like proof. I called Nadia. "We're doing this," I said. She took a breath on the other end. "Copy." We locked down everything. We changed passwords. We initiated access logs. We created unique links for each file sent to Sienna, so if anything left our building, I would know where it came from and when. We made a folder that didn't exist on the surface of our server, but did exist if you knew where to look. We filled it with bait. Beautiful, convincing, confidential ideas that would be irresistible to someone hungry for shortcuts. We called it Finch. It's a small bird that looks soft and travels in flocks and surprises you with how smart it is. We placed Finch in Sienna's path. That weekend, I went home and cooked with my mother. She chopped onions with fierce tenderness. "How is work?" she asked, eyes on the knife. "Busy," I said. "Good." "How is Sienna?" I looked at her. She is herself. My mother put the knife down. "I know you two have history," she said. "I know it hasn't been easy." "It hasn't," I said. "Don't carry the whole story alone," she said. "If she is hurting you, you don't have to keep holding her." I stared at the onions and let my eyes water. "I know," I whispered. Greg came in and set the table, talking about a show he'd watched about birds that fake broken wings to protect their nests. I went quiet. My mother caught my eyes and smiled like she knew I had just decided something I needed to decide. When I went back to work Monday, I wore a blazer the color of soft moss. Sienna clocked it and smirked. "Power suit," she said. "Nice." "Thanks," I said and opened my laptop. Here's the thing about revenge that doesn't make good TV. The best kind is patient. It's not dramatic music and breaking plates. It's lists and quiet confidence and giving someone enough rope to show you who they are. We built Finch with love. We wrote a deck for a fake project, a confidential expansion of Lumen into experiential pop-ups in 4 cities with a mystery investor that would make even the most jaded assistant salivate. We seeded it with language that felt like me. We made it sound like the kind of secret someone would love to share to feel powerful. We included 2 small Easter eggs in the copy, tiny unique word choices no one would accidentally write. That would tell me which document had leaked if it did. We also made a fake calendar invite for a meeting with a high-profile partner. The partner was real. Aurora Vale, an investor who believed in ethical brands, a woman with eyes that saw the whole table at once. She and I had met at a panel, shared a lift in a storm, and exchanged numbers because sometimes the world is small and generous. I called Aurora. "I need a strange favor," I said. "Is it legal?" she asked, amused. "Yes," I said, "and gentle." "Then I'm in," she said. "Tell me everything." We created a dummy email chain with Aurora confirming a confidential review. We didn't put anything in it that would hurt her if it fell into the wrong hands. We kept it clean. We kept it just tasty enough to tempt. We shared Finch with one person, Sienna. I called her into my office. "I need you on this," I said, leaning forward like this was a gift I wasn't sure she could handle. "Confidential. No one else sees it, not the team, not even Nadia. If this leaks, we lose it." Her pupils dilated just a little. "I'm your girl," she said. I handed her a printed copy of the deck, the only printed copy, with a subtle watermark like a thread woven through the pages. I emailed her a link to the same deck with a unique URL. I set the permissions so she could view it and add a note but not download. "This is big, Sienna," I said softly. "Don't make me regret trusting you." She held my gaze, and for one heartbeat, I saw the teenager again, the one who stood at the top of the stairs holding my notes with an expression I couldn't read. And then it was gone. She smiled. "You won't," she said. After she left, Nadia came in and shut the door behind her. "This makes me feel like I might throw up," she said. "I know," I said, and put a hand on my stomach like that would calm it. "The truth is nauseating sometimes." We didn't have to wait long. 48 hours later, my dashboard pinged. The Finch link had been opened from an IP address downtown that didn't match our office or Sienna's home. The unique phrase I had planted in the header, "soft thunder," appeared in a teaser from Vesper Grey about an electric, gentle, citywide activation. 2 days after that, an email chain showed up in my inbox forwarded by a friend of a friend. A thread between Zara Gray and an anonymous sender, quoting Aurora's fake confirmation like a trophy. I printed the thread. I put it in a folder I breathed. Meanwhile, inside our office, Sienna was careful. She took notes on Finch and asked questions and offered to run errands like the most helpful person on earth. She acted like she believed in me. She laughed at Mateo's jokes. She asked Priya about her nephew. She was perfect. And then she started to turn screws in small, invisible ways. She accidentally moved a meeting with Virio by a day, and we barely made the rescheduled slot. She sent an email to Soleil Beauty with a tone that was fine except for the way it removed all softness, which is, ironically, the thing they liked us for. When I called her on it, she shrugged. "Just being direct," she said. "You told me to be clear." "I did not tell you to be cold," I said. "Maybe they like cold," she murmured, tapping her pen against the desk. Click, click. It was theater, all of it, and I let it happen, because sometimes you only get one good shot and I wanted it to count. I made an appointment I didn't need with a therapist I did. In that room with the plant that looked like it might lift its leaves and walk away, I said, "I am going to expose my stepsister." My therapist didn't flinch. "Are you sure she did it?" "Yes," I said, and described the phrases, the links, the timing, the everything. "Then what is the exposure for?" she asked. "For me," I said, "so I can stop doubting myself, so my team can see that I will protect them, so my family stops telling me I am dramatic." "And what is it not for?" she asked. "It is not to destroy her," I said. "I am not out for destruction. I just want the truth out where it belongs." "Then make a plan that honors that," she said gently. "Do it in daylight." Daylight. I wrote the word in my notebook and underlined it twice. We chose the place. We chose the time. We chose the witnesses. City Innovators Night, an event where agencies presented case studies and pitches to a room full of brand partners, press, and peers, had invited us to speak. Vesper Grey was also on the schedule. It was perfect. It was terrible. It was our stage. I bought a suit the color of a sunrise. I didn't need armor. I am not a warrior. I am a woman who tells the truth. I sent 2 invitations to people I needed in the room, my mother and Greg. I didn't label it as a war. I said, "Come see what we've built." Sienna printed our slides. She double-checked the clicker. She reminded me to breathe. She was perfect. "Thank you," I told her, and I meant it in a strange way. She had given me a gift, the clarity to act. City Innovators Night took place in a hall that used to be a train station, the kind of room where your footsteps echo and your voice feels bigger than your throat. The stage was dressed with a clean screen and lights that made everything look sharper. People wore outfits that said I am here to watch and to be watched. Name badges hung like small flags. The air smelled like coffee and nerves. Nadia stood beside me backstage and squeezed my hand. "You got this," she said, steady. "I know," I said, and it surprised me how true it felt. I scanned the audience and found my mother in the third row, hair pinned up, eyes bright. Greg sat beside her, a hand on her knee. Next to them, Sienna in a white dress, perfect, unreadable. She had suggested this dress to me 2 days ago. "It'll pop," she said. I had chosen sunrise instead. I wanted to glow, not pop. Vesper Grey presented first. Zara walked on stage in black silk that draped like it knew it was important. She moved like she owned the room because she often did. The screen behind her displayed slides of campaigns that were good and some that were just loud. She smiled. She said, "We build stories that spark. We bring soft thunder." My phrase, my planted phrase. The room applauded that line like it meant something. My jaw flexed, I breathed. Nadia sighed softly and squeezed my hand again. "Almost," she whispered. "Your turn." Zara ended with a teaser for a new experiential series rolling out this fall in partnership with a visionary investor. The slide flashed Aurora's name. My mother's mouth opened a little. Greg leaned forward. I could feel Sienna's gaze on the side of my face like a warm light that wasn't kind. The host thanked Zara and then called my name. "Next up, Lumen Studio, small team, big heart." The room chuckled. The host smiled at me like she wanted me to make it. I walked out, shoulders back. The lights warmed my skin. The mic waited. I set my notes down and looked at faces. I don't usually look. I look at a point in the back of the room and perform. Tonight I looked. I wanted them to see me seeing them. "Hi," I said, simple. "I'm Maya. I built Lumen in a tiny room with bad light and a window that didn't close. We help brands tell the truth." Easy, gentle, true. I told the story of Soleil Beauty and the warm wind. I told the story of Vireo and Second Nature without nomming names. I showed our work and you could feel the room lean in. It wasn't fancy. It was honest. We make things that feel like clean water. And then I turned toward the part of the presentation that wasn't in the program. "I want to tell you about a different kind of project," I said, voice steady. "A human one. At Lumen, we care about the truth, not just in our work, in our rooms." I clicked to a slide with a single sentence. "Protect what you build." "In the last month," I said, "our studio has experienced something that many of you have experienced. An idea left our building before it was ready to walk. A phrase that felt like our fingerprint showed up somewhere else, wearing different clothes. It happens. The city is a small place, but sometimes it does not just happen." The room was still. You could feel the confession dragging oxygen into a shape everyone wanted to touch. I clicked to another slide, a screenshot of a subject line with my dots. The sender line blurred for the audience. For now, the recipient clear, Z, gray at Vespergris, calm. "In an effort to understand, we did what any careful studio would do," I said. "We documented, we marked, we made sure we were not guessing. We asked for help from a partner." Aurora's name appeared on the screen with her permission and a small wink she had sent me, and we set a clear boundary. I turned my head and found Aurora in the crowd, smiling, hands folded like she was watching a play she had read the script for. I clicked to the next slide, 2 phrases circled on 2 different posts. "Soft thunder, second nature." "We didn't make a scene," I said gently. "We made a file. We waited. Then, when we could tell a clean story, we chose to tell it now, here, not to point fingers, but to draw a line." I let a beat pass. The room breathed with me. "The line is this," I said. "Do not steal. Do not whisper. Do not walk into people's rooms, take their work, and carry it into other rooms like a prize. This is not about fairness, which is a child's word. This is about integrity, which is an adult choice. If you do this, you will be seen. You will be named." I heard Sienna shift in her chair. I didn't look at her. Not yet. I clicked to the next slide, and my voice was very calm. "The sender of that email with our deck," I said, "works for me." A ripple, not a gasp. A ripple like wind through grass. The The press phones lifted a little, then lowered again, like they were listening. She signed a promise, I continued. A promise to protect our work. She broke it, and because I believe in daylight, I will tell her name now. I paused because this was the part where I tested my own heart. I wasn't here to ruin. I was here to reveal. Sienna, I said, my assistant, my stepsister. It hung there. The word stepsister did something to the room. It made it sour and sweet at the same time. People leaned forward. They love family. They love mess. I would not give them mess. I clicked to the last slide. Not her face, not her email. A picture of my studio. My team at the table with pizza and hope. The caption, we build in the light. This isn't a takedown, I said softly. It's a stand-up. My team is small. We're good. We work hard. We protect what we make. If you are on our side of the line, welcome. If you are not, step back. It was quiet for a beat. Then the first clap. Then more. Then the whole room, not thunder, something else. Something like rain on a roof when you're safe inside. I stepped back from the mic. I glanced at my mother. Her eyes were wet. Greg looked like someone had unplugged him and plugged him back in. Sienna stared at me like she was trying to decide whether to laugh or to burn. After the session, the hall turned into a mouth of voices. People came up to me and said things like brave and smart, and we need more of this. They handed me cards and I handed them back sincerity. Aurora hugged me with one arm, her other hand still holding a tiny water. Clean, she whispered in my ear. That was clean. Nadia stood at my shoulder like a guard dog with an MBA. Mateo cried quietly in the way he does when art wins. Priya looked like she could run a marathon and not get tired. We had planned the backstage part too. I asked the host for a quiet room, and she gave us a small, square space with 2 chairs and a table and a mirror that made your face look honest. I texted Sienna. We need to talk. She came in 10 minutes later, face calm, dress unwrinkled. My mother and Greg were behind her like a soft wall. Nadia closed the door. For a moment, all you could hear was the muffled sound of the event outside, like waves. How dare you, Sienna said, very softly, so calm it made the hair on my arms lift. How dare I repeated. You want to humiliate me? On a stage? She asked, eyebrows lifting. You've always wanted to be me, but this is new. This is dirty. I stared at her, dirty. She had just said dirty. I breathed and told myself not to laugh. It wasn't fun. It was sad. I didn't show your face, I said. I didn't read your email address. I didn't call you a name. I held the door open and asked the truth to walk in. She rolled her eyes. You're so dramatic. Greg cleared his throat. Sienna, he said, voice low, did you send those emails? I did not, she said, crisp. This is a setup. They have always been jealous of me. Show us your phone, my mother said, very quietly, like she was asking for salt. Sienna laughed. No. Show us your sent folder, Nadia said, kind and deadly. No, Sienna said again, looking at me, not them. You don't get to go through my things. You went through mine, I said. She glanced at the mirror and checked her lipstick. You're welcome, she said. I put a folder on the table. Here, what we have, I said, and laid it out like a dealer. A forwarded email chain with your name at the top. A link you opened from a downtown IP that isn't our office, moments before a competitor uses our exact language. An NDA with your signature. A time stamp. She looked bored. Circumstantial, she said. It's enough for termination, Nadia said, voice gentle. Termination, Sienna laughed, a bright, brittle sound. You gave me an assistant job at your little company like it was a favor. You think I need this. It was charity. Greg flinched. My mother went very still. I turned to Greg. Did you ask me to hire her? I asked. Be honest. He swallowed. I suggested, he said. I thought it would be good for both of you, a bridge. A bridge, I repeated. I understand. Sienna tossed her hair. There, the truth, Daddy asked. Hero big sister came through, you're welcome. I am not a hero, I said. I am a boss, and my assistant violated our trust. You don't have proof, she said. Nadia laid down a final page. A printed email from Sienna's work account to her personal with the Finch deck link inside. I didn't need to say how we got it. The system logs are not romance. They are fences, and my fence held. Sienna's eyes flicked across the page. A tiny pulse in her jaw jumped. Then she looked up at me like she was above it all. "So what?" she asked softly. "So what if I sent it? It's not a crime. Everybody shares, everybody samples. You're not original, Maya, you're just loud." I sat down because standing felt like I might float away. I folded my hands in my lap and felt them still. "I don't need to be original," I said. "I need to be honest. You were." She smiled with just her teeth. "What are you going to do? Sue me." "I'm going to do 3 things," I said, feeling the plan I wrote in the quiet of my kitchen rise to the surface like a whale. "First, I'm going to end your employment. Clean, immediate, with cause. Second, I'm going to ask you to sign a statement acknowledging what you did, so my team and my clients know we are not liars. Third, I'm going to ask you to make it right." "Make it right," she scoffed. "How?" "You're going to write a letter to Virio and Soleil and to my team," I said. "You're going to say you violated our trust, you're going to apologize, and you're going to ask them to hold Lumen harmless for your actions. And then you are going to put your head down and decide who you are." She stared at me like she couldn't believe my audacity. "No," she said. "Then we go public," Nadia said. "With compassion, with facts, we loop your LinkedIn, the press loves a thread. We don't want to, we will." Sienna turned to Greg. "Daddy." He looked torn. For a second, he was a man watching a storm that had arrived in his living room with no warning. Then he looked at me. "Is this true?" he asked, voice breaking. "Yes," I said. "I am not vindictive, Greg, you know me. I counted to 20 before I spoke today. I only speak when I can prove it." He rubbed his face. "Sienna." She folded her arms across her chest like armor. "You always pick her," she said, voice high and small. "Even before the wedding, you picked her. You were always impressed by how hard she worked. You always told me to be more like her. How could I? I'm not her, I'm me." The room shifted. For a second there she was. Not a storm, not a knife, just a girl who learned the wrong lessons first. My anger softened like ice in warm hands. "Sienna," I said, and the word didn't feel like a hit anymore. "I don't want to destroy you. I want to stop you from destroying me. And you, because this is not how you want to live. Carrying other people's work like it's a bag you can put your name on." She blinked. For a heartbeat, her lip trembled. Then she stiffened. "I'm not signing anything," she said. "I'm not apologizing." My mother stepped forward. "Then you can go," she said, voice soft but carved from something old. "Not just from the job, from our house, until you decide to be a decent person. Because we are not asked to hold your behavior like it is a baby we must rock." Sienna stared at her like she had been slapped by a cloud. "Wow," she whispered. Greg put a hand on the back of a chair. "I will pay for a lawyer if you want one," he said to Sienna. "I will help you find your way, but I will not ask Maya to carry this anymore." Silence, then the tiniest sound, the click of Sienna's pen. She looked at me like she wanted to cut me in half with her eyes. "Fine," she said. "Print it." Nadia slid the statement she had already drafted across the table. Sienna laughed at that. Of course we had it ready. Of course we are women who plan. She read it. She rolled her eyes. She signed. I had a termination letter ready too. I handed it to her. She didn't look at it. She put it in her bag like it didn't matter. At the door, she turned and looked at me like she could still change the ending. "You are not better than me," she said. "You are just better at pretending." I felt tired, the kind of tired that feels like clean sheets. "I never said I was better," I said. "I said I was done." The door shut. The muffled sound of the event outside came back, a comfort now. My mother sat down. Greg exhaled like a man who had been holding his breath for a year. Nadia leaned against the wall and cried once, a single neat tear, then wiped it away and said, "Okay, let's go home." The week after City Innovators, night felt like stepping into a new house that looked exactly like your old one but smelled different. Fresh paint, open windows, the same sofa, a new light. We sent the letters. The one Sienna signed went to Virio, to Soleil, to our team. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't cruel. It was clear. I violated the trust of Lumen Studio by sharing confidential materials without authorization, it said. This was my decision. Maya and her team did not know and did not approve. I am sorry. Virio responded with grace. We trust you, they said. We're still in. Soleil sent us flowers. The note said, thank you for how you handled this. We choose partners who choose the light. Vesper Gray posted vague quotes about inspiration being everywhere and the city being a collage. They took down the Aurora slide. They did not say sorry. It's okay. The city knows how to file things away. We reset our passwords again. We installed a habit. We ask, who needs to see this? Before we share. We wrote a policy that reads like a promise. We printed it and put it on the wall in the kitchen beside the calendar where we write birthdays and notes like, remember to water indigo, which is the name of our plant that always leans toward the sun. As for family, we did something radical. We took a beat. My mother and Greg drew a boundary line at their front door. We love you, come in peace. It is not peace to grab what is not yours. Sienna did not come for a while. The house was quiet. It felt like a sound we hadn't heard before. I used some of the money I had been too afraid to spend to take the team to the ocean for a day. We stood on the sand and watched a line of small birds race the wave out and back, quick little legs a blur, fearless and funny. Finches? Mateo asked. Not finches, Nadia said, laughing. Sandpipers. Still cute, I said. We ate sandwiches and told the story of the first thing we ever made that we were proud of. Priya talked about a school zine with terrible staples. Mateo talked about a mural under a bridge. Nadia talked about a spreadsheet that got a nonprofit 2 more grants than they expected. I talked about the time I told a brand they didn't need me. They needed to apologize to their customers first. They did. Then they came back better. Good things, Nadia said, lifting her water. Louder. Back at the studio, the work went on. It always does. The pop-ups popped. The captions sang. The photos glowed. We got quiet press for the way we handled the storm. Nothing flashy, just a few kind pieces in places that matter. We grew slow and sure. We didn't betray ourselves. I wrote a check and mailed it to a program for girls who want to start small businesses. I wrote another to a clinic in our neighborhood that helps women who can't afford the care they deserve. It wasn't a flex. It was gratitude. It was a way to pull the story out of the room and into the street. One night late, I got a text. Unknown number. The message said, it wasn't all on purpose. Sometimes I did it because I didn't know how to have a win of my own. I thought if I held your things, they would become mine. I'm sorry. I stared at the screen. Sienna. I didn't reply right away. I slept. I woke. I made coffee. I watered indigo. I wrote her back at noon. I believe you will become someone you are proud of, I typed. Not here, not now, but someday, take care. She didn't reply. It was enough. Months passed. The seasons turned like always. The tree outside our window reddened and then shook itself bare and then dressed itself again. We moved a desk to make room for a new hire. We painted the conference wall the color of summer peaches. We put a small rug by the door so people could wipe the city off their shoes. At a family dinner, my mother made lamb and laughter. Greg told a story about getting lost at the farmer's market. We ate too much and then we ate a little more. Sienna did not come. It was okay. Love is not a constant party. Sometimes love looks like an empty chair you don't immediately fill. Then one Sunday, I saw her. I was walking home with a baguette under my arm like a cliché, and there she was coming out of a career center on 8th, a tote over her shoulder that said, Work in progress. She saw me. She paused. I paused. Maya, she said. Sienna, I said. We stood, 2 women in the middle of a city that didn't care about our drama at all. She looked different, softer around the edges, less armor, or maybe I was seeing her without my old glasses on. How are you? I asked. Better, she said, still me. Good, I said. I'm taking classes, she said. Project management, actual management, not the other kind. I smiled. That's good. I got a part-time job, she said, a small pride peeking out. Front desk at a studio that makes commercials for dentists. It's not glamorous. It's a job, I said. Work is work. She looked at the baguette and laughed. Always on brand, she said, nodding at my cliché. I laughed too. I'm not going to ask for my job back, she said quickly, before the silence could play tricks. I'm not like that anymore. I wouldn't give it to you, I said honestly, but I would help you find another one if you want help. She exhaled. I don't know yet, she said, but thanks. We stood there in the traffic noise and the sun and the city's hum, and I felt something unclench. Not forgiveness, exactly. Not a forgetting, just a refile. A move from the cabinet labeled pain to the one called past. Tell Greg I said hi, she said, looking down. And Rosa. I will, I said. Take care, Sienna. You too, Maya. We walked around each other and kept going. Sometimes that's the only way the story moves forward. Not with hugs, with nods. At work the next day, I brought pastries and a bag of oranges and asked everyone to share something they learned last month. Priya said, that soft can be strong. Mateo said, that lines matter. Nadia said, that my boss is a stone-cold genius and also a marshmallow. We laughed. I said, that truth is not a weapon, it's a window. If you're brave, you open it. I want to say this plain, because you're here with me, and because maybe you need to hear it the way I needed to hear it 5 years ago. You do not have to let people tear up what you build just because they are family. You do not have to hold your breath in your own house. You do not have to give away your work to keep the peace. Peace that costs your soul is not peace. It's silence. When my stepsister told me I'd never be successful, I believed her for a long time. Not in my mind, in my body. In the way I flinched when someone said my name on a stage. In the way I hugged the wall in rooms with power. In the way I over-explained my ideas like apologies. I don't do that anymore. I hired her as my assistant not because I wanted to watch her carry my bag, but because I wanted to carry my own name without shaking. I wanted to see who she was now. I wanted to see who I was now too. What I learned is this: revenge does not have to be cruel. The best revenge is the life you build out loud. The best revenge is steady work and clean hands. The best revenge is a meeting where you speak the truth with a calm voice and let it land like a feather and a stone at the same time. I could have screamed. I could have burned 100 bridges just to watch them light the night. Instead, I did the boring thing. I documented. I waited. I spoke in daylight. And the city, this harsh, shining place, met me with a soft answer. Applause that sounded like rain. I am not a hero. I am not the villain. I am not better than my stepsister. I am different. I chose the light and then I kept choosing it, even when the dark was familiar and easy. If you're listening to this in your car, or washing dishes, or hiding in a bathroom after a fight, hear me. You can be kind and still say no. You can forgive and still set boundaries so sturdy they could hold a house. You can love people from the other side of a door if you need to. You can start small and become someone you would follow. Make good things louder. Say what you mean. Protect what you build. And when someone says you can't, write their words down on a napkin, fold it in half, and use it as a coaster for your coffee while you get to work. The world is watching, sure, but more importantly, you are. I still have the print on my wall. Make good things louder. If you ever visit our studio, I'll show you. We'll hand you a cup of tea and a seat and a pen that doesn't leak, and we'll ask you what you're building. We'll listen. We'll help. That's what we do. Thank you for being here with me, for sitting in the dark until the lights came on, for watching me tell the truth. And if you're somewhere with a staircase and someone at the top trying to make you feel small, look up, smile, and take the stairs anyway. There is a door at the top. It is not locked. Open it.